I'm 20, welcome to Dad Tales. Please like, rate, subscribe and follow us on Instagram. Here's Dad and Leon, hope you enjoy this week's episode.
Right, good afternoon, mate. Happy Dad Tales Day. How are we doing?
I'm good, thank yourself.
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. Still, we have to look at your ugly mug on the screen rather than be together, but that's the situation we're in still, I'm afraid. How's your week been?
Steady away, same as usual. Groundhog Day again, over and over. Sorting work out. We've had some bad news with work that we're not allowed to open because we're obviously working leisure. Just got to hang fire, which is a bit of a bummer, really. All hard work we put in, waiting to see what Boris has to say going forward. So hopefully that'll be a positive later date. But apart from that, it's been same old. Been out for walks, been doing schoolwork. It's not getting any easier. If I was getting harder. I'm lucky though, we're still not at tears, so I'm lucky in that aspect. I know a lot of parents have had tears, you know, with the pressure and everything that goes on, whereas we ain't got there yet. But I think there's going to be a breaking point at some point, but I hope it doesn't.
I got tears this week, and it was only because I was trying to find out what was going on with the work. It wasn't in an angry way, or I just couldn't get my head around something. And Andy thought I was telling her off, and I didn't feel like I had the ability for her to be able to ask the right questions, for her to be able to explain the right questions, explain the right answers. I mean,
Yeah,
and it was just frustration, I think, on all parts. I'm like you, mate. I think it's just got to a point now where it's getting roll on summer holidays for me. We'll get into.
I mean, when I'm speaking to the parents, the hard thing is they're not teachers, so trying to teach something against the syllabus compared to how we've been taught, it's just two different things. So that when I'm talking to people, that's the frustration people are having, trying to explain how it works and just the stress of it all. Because I mean, everyone's trying to juggle work commitments from home. Everyone's trying to juggle the housekeeping. It may be like more people have got partners at home, which is contributing to stress. If you have your own set routine, if like your house husband or a housewife, and you're just used to get up, get kids sorted, go through the processes, tend to the house, what needs doing, have the tea ready. Those sort of things have just gone out of the window massively.
Yeah, routines gone at the moment, hasn't it? I tell you what I struggle with this week. We've been doing schoolwork this week, and I just don't. I've got an 8-year-old sat at one side of the table and a 15-year-old doing GCSE work at the other side of the table, and I'm thinking, right, if there's anything I can help here, it's the year 3 stuff. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm much better at looking at the GCSE stuff and seeing how I can. It's a lot about problem solving in GCSE and thinking about it and explaining why. Actually, I don't know what a proverb is, a noun is, an adjective, and all that stuff. I don't even remember that stuff.
Yeah, I said the exact same thing the other day. I don't think I've once had to figure out or say what a verb is or why I use a verb. I don't work in English, like literature or like that. I don't work for like a newspaper, journalism or like that. I don't think me knowing that has been an importance. And obviously we teach kids it, like it's so much stress about figuring out what's a pronoun, what's a verb, and there's so much emphasis on it. It doesn't frustrate me, but it boggles my mind on when are they going to use it, because I've not used it. I probably have at some point, but I don't know. I don't remember doing it to that extent.
Yeah, it's hard to say that, though, and it's hard to say, you'll never need this for the rest of your life, because they might do. You know, it's a good thing to learn, but I'm saying, I just think, why do I need to know that a battle happened in Peru in 1812? What was the outcome of it?
There'll be people listening to this, Lem, and go, those two northern monkeys do not know what they're talking about.
I'd like to think that people will relate to this. These discussions. 2 guys sat around going, yeah, I don't even know what a noun is.
With my 10 toes and my 10 fingers, I'm good to go.
Yeah, I could write a letter, I could write an email. My spelling's not that bad. I think I know where to put a full stop. And you obviously finish everything now with a smiley emoji.
Of course you do. Or big thumbs up instead of saying thanks.
I don't like the thumb, I'll be honest.
You don't like the thumb up?
You won't see me ever using the thumbs up emoji.
What's the rationale there then?
Just can't get on board with it, man. Can't get on board with it. If I was to see you in the street and I'd give you a smiley face, you'd be all right with that. If I was to see you in the street and give you a big thumbs up, I wouldn't be happy.
I'd be giving it a thumb back. I love a big thumbs up.
No, there's something about a thumbs up. I think, I tell you what's ruined it for me. Simon Cowell's ruined it for me. If you ever see Simon Cowell on TV and he ever does a thumbs up to one of the people on stage.
I've not noticed, but I will now. If anybody knows what he's talking about, give us a shout out.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it and I'll put it on our Instagram. Right, we've got some topics to discuss this week. I'll go first this week. Right, so my topic this week is shopping. I've got 3 girls. Shopping with 3 girls is an absolute heartbreaking. It's difficult. They're all at very different stages of their life. They're all got very different ideas of what they want when we go shopping. And when I'm talking shopping, we're not to the supermarket. This is like your maybe holiday shop, or if it's the birthday or something like that. It's your shopping centre. Like I say, 3 girls, different ages. What's been a good point is the fact that I feel like I've raised them to be very Yorkshire, which obviously means they're very quite tight. They won't go crazy and just spend everything, and they won't be asking for £500 coats or £90 eye thingy that you put on eyeshadow, eye makeup. You know what I mean. You definitely.
You're on it.
Or all like that. But within that has its own pitfalls, because that means that when we go to places such as major shopping centres, we end up walking around every single shop to find the cheapest possible thing. We'll go in one shop. I'll take Ellie for an example. Ellie's the oldest. She's 20. She's quite level-headed. She will try and find something. She wants value for money. That's the key. VFM. We'll go into one shop. She'll see something that she likes. But within this whole shopping centre, there might be another shop that sells something the same. So we'll walk around. If that was me, and this is what guys do, they walk in and go, yeah, that looks all right. Will it fit? Possibly. I'll check that out when I get home. We'll buy it. If it don't fit, it stays in the wardrobe. If it does fit, it's our best top and we never take it off.
So true.
Yeah. Lexi's at that typical teenager age. She's a bit more see it or buy it, which is good. But then after 10 minutes, she wants more. And then there's Andy, who not a big, I mean, she's only 8, so she's not big into like clothes shopping and stuff like that. But if you go in somewhere like what's the stationery shop? You know which one I mean.
Smiggle.
Yeah, that's the one. Wiggle.
Smiggle.
Smiggle, sorry. Wiggle's the cheaper version.
Wiggle.
Things in there, things in there, quite expensive, very colourful, and it just attracts kids' eyes, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Avery's the exact same, to the point where if she gets any pocket money or gets any birthday money, she spends it in Smiggle. I've got pencil cases, pens, rubbers. Playroom looks like a Smiggle factory. The same old stuff. I've got 2 pencil cases, just different colours. They're basically the same. You don't need 2 pencil cases, darling. But that's Ava for you. She's like pretty much like Andy. I think it's an age thing. They're both 8 thereabouts. They've got no massive concept of money, and then Smiggle stuff is very expensive anyway. And they're like, it's glittery. I want it.
Yeah, but that's it, isn't it? That's exactly it. Whenever I go shopping, I have a really, I suppose a bit like all guys do, we have a low attention span. So if I go out anywhere, if I can last an hour, then I've had enough after that. I've had enough. Or I become embarrassing dad. This is what just amuses me then for the rest of the day. How can I possibly embarrass these kids to a point of they'll just go, Dad, I've had enough, can we go home? So my biggest thing, and this is something that I can't stop doing. Talking to Ellie today, and she reminded me of this, so I thought I'd bring it up. When people sneeze, I have to say, bless you. If I hear I think that, exactly. If I hear an achoo, it's immediately followed by a bless you. And then to finish the loop, then they need to come back with a thank you. That, we talked about this last week, that for me is a small victory. If I can get that trio together, that's a small victory for me. But they hate it. They absolutely hate it. But I've tried explaining that this is just something that I just can't not do now. That's it. How's your experiences with supermarkets or shopping in general? You're 2 a bit younger than mine.
When we go supermarket style, they're all right, because where we go, you can buy little shopping trolleys. So that's got loads better in that aspect. I mean, it used to be an absolute nightmare when Noah was a lot littler and he had to be in the trolley. And he'd want to be out of the trolley. He'd want to be in the trolley. He'd be then climbing across and crushing all the crisps, the fruit. So it would just be an absolute nightmare. Whereas since I've been able to introduce the little shopping trolleys, since I brought these little shopping trolleys, I can send them up the aisle. So if I can see breads up the aisle, I'll go, right, go get me a loaf of bread. Bang, they're off. Go get the milk while I'm getting the other bits and bobs. So my life has got so much better with that, because for some reason, shopping's become well, not become mine, but I do the shopping. So I'll do the weekly shop. So I'll go on a Sunday. I think it's because I'm tight and thrifty and I'll spend less than she will. I couldn't care less for a bargain. What's on the list, I'm buying, and we're in, we're out, we're done. Nothing extra, nothing lost. Whereas I think Amy's more the other way around. She'll be thinking ahead of teas in the future, whereas I can only think about what's on my list and what I've got to get done and get out. Regarding clothes shopping, that's Amy's sort of department. I do go clothes shopping with them, but I'm like you, my attention span is so short to the point where Amy could have a pink polka dot t-shirt on with some pinstripe jeans on. I've got no concept. Amy back me on this. I've got no concept of what goes with what. I can sort myself out. Where a nice pair of jeans, a shirt, or things don't clash. But when it comes to kid stuff, don't trust me, because I am terrible when it comes to that side of things. She does all shopping for that. I'll go with them, but I'm just like, yeah, just get that. It's like, what do you think? Yeah, it looks great. Could have it on the red, and I'd be like, yeah, just buy it. I've not got that.
I want to know as well how you couldn't go shopping for yourself and take 2 small kids with you, could you? So if you wanted a new outfit, how do parents manage that situation? If you've got one parent that takes, say, 2 small children that are able, Noah and Ava's age, how do you go into changing rooms and stuff? How do people do that? How do they navigate that? How do you go to the toilet? Do you take them all in?
It's called being a skilled female.
I think that's probably it.
We're one-dimensional as men, and I'm not going stereotypical, but I'm like you. Like, you said last week about you've got something in your mind. I'm off to the seaside. No matter what I'm getting to that seaside, I'm very much the same, to the point where if I've got something in mind, we're getting that done. And I think women have got the ability to think outside the box, be adaptable. They'll probably stick that bra on under or over the top and go, yeah, that's about right, good to go. Whereas I'd be like, no, I need to physically make sure that fits, or later on I'll go, yeah, it's in my wardrobe. I've got jeans in my wardrobe that don't fit me, that I'm thinking I'm going to lose some weight and get into them. They've been in there like 10 years and I'm never going to get into them just because they don't want to try it on.
I call them hope clothes.
Yeah, I've got hope clothes.
I've got hope clothes. I think we've all got hope clothes, mate.
I don't have hope clothes going the other way, though. I don't have any that are massive.
No, I suppose that's not something we aspire to be, but it's like same as if you need to. Has it ever got to an age where, like, if she needs a toilet, she's at an age where you take her in the gents, then, don't you? She's not got to that age where you go, oh, I'm all right, Dad, I can go by myself. And then she
thinks she can.
And then you're stood outside a female toilet like a weirdo.
Yeah, and being northern and the way I speak don't help my situation. Where I'm going, no, officer, I'm just with my daughter.
Yeah, you look a bit weird as well, just stood outside a ladies' change room. It's a nightmare, isn't it? It's just a stress that I just don't know if we need it. Online all the way. Just get everything online.
Yeah, I think online's well, I wouldn't say loads better, because I've had errors on that aspect as well, where I've ordered things and just they don't fit. Different stores have different sizes. That's what I find frustrating when it comes to shopping. Like, you go in one shop and I'm a 34 waist. I go in another shop, I'm a 38 waist. I'm in tears, thinking I need to get my weight off. I don't understand how 2 shops can be so different when you work on inches. It's crazy.
Have you got to a point as well where, I mean, like, you've got a boy and a girl, I've got 3 girls, and you get to that point where they're going to parties and stuff, and you're thinking, yeah, you can't wear that.
Yeah.
And you're looking forward to that. And it's like you're wearing something that you'd expect like an adult to wear. And not that it's sort of sleazy or anything in any way. It's just way too grown. Why can't you just wear a bright pink dress with Mickey Mouse's face on? Why do you need an handbag?
Lipstick, eyeliner. Thing is, like, Ava is obsessed with makeup as well, to the point where I'm like, be a child. You're going to spend the rest of your life worrying about putting makeup on, lipstick and things like that. Be a kid right now. But she won't listen, because I think everything, for some reason, you always want to be a grown-up until you become a grown-up, then you want to be a kid again. It's gone too quick. Role reversal all the time. I mean, I was saying, I for some reason, you always wanted to grow up, didn't you? Do you know what I mean? You always wanted to go do the things that adults did. And then now you're an adult, you're like, oh, send me back. Well, I need to go back anyway to learn, but never mind, but send me back.
Yeah. What's a noun?
I ain't got a clue, mate. Someone told me many moons ago.
Yeah, we'll never get there. Yeah, they just grow up too quick, don't they? That's the thing. I've just got a really quick story that I'm just going to tell. I'm probably shooting myself in the foot here, but if this is terrible, we'll edit it out. So this is a story. Live. This is a story about me and Ellie went shopping It was a Christmas shopping, and was in Southport. Ellie lives in Southport, so we went shopping around there. As nature takes its course, I needed the toilet. I went to the toilet. And this is just one of them things that just seems to happen whenever I go shopping. Not the same thing every time, but there's always a bad experience. I never go shopping. Like women go shopping and they love it, don't they? They make it an experience and a day trip, and they'll go out and have coffee and they'll have Prosecco and whatever. They make it a big day. I go, and it's an absolute horrible experience from start to finish. I went in this shop. Nature called, nipped at loo. It was a sit-down loo. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it was a sit-down loo. While I was in there, somebody just decided to literally break the door in. I'm sat there, and then the door just opened. I don't know what happened. They must have kicked it or pushed it really hard. It was definitely locked, but for some reason, this door just came in. And I looked at him, and he looked at me. There was way too long eye contact between us. It was a really horrible experience. Managed to shut the door, did what I needed to do, got out of there pretty sharpish. Ellie knew as soon as I walked out that something was wrong. So she's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's just get out of this shop and I'll explain to you later what's just happened." So for the next sort of 15 minutes, as I tried to regain my myself, she was a bit worried.
I mean, I've got a terrible story. I mean, it's completely different to yours. Someone did break a door down and busted on me while I was trying to take a number 2. Me and Amy went shopping with Ava when Ava was little, so before Noah was born. And obviously, with kids, so unpredictable, i.e. when they need to go to the toilet, they need to go to the toilet. Without getting too graphic, she'd pooed, but I mean, she'd pooed everywhere. And I mean, absolutely everywhere. We've got to change of clothes, but the problem was the change of clothes, from me changing the child, I'd managed to get poo everywhere. So I'd managed to get poo on the clean clothes. So not only were the clothes she had on were mucky, I'd managed to get poo on the set of clean clothes we brought with us. So Amy had to go get some fresh pair of clothes. So she went to Next or wherever it was to get some fresh baby clothes and stuff. So the point where she comes back with fresh clothes, then I needed fresh clothes because I managed to get poo on myself. So I had to go get myself some fresh clothes.
Did you send Amy off to Next as well?
Now I went to Baby Gap to get my big clothes. So not only was there a change of clothes for my poor daughter, but also I had to do it. So lesson to be learned is I should have gone and got the clothes. She'd have probably not got it everywhere, whereas I was left clean up and I managed to get it everywhere.
While Amy was out getting clothes, did she think, well, I might as well get myself a new outfit while everybody else is?
Yeah, probably. But the thing is, it wasn't just on my T-shirt, it was on my T-shirt and my jeans. I don't know how I'd done it, but I'd managed to get like all over my front. So it's not as if I could have gone, I'll just change that. I had to pretty much change jeans, T-shirts a lot. It was a nightmare. And that was like I say, when Ava was very little. She was in a car seat as well at the time. The car seat was just covered. And that was a nightmare, trying to get that clean. It was in like the melee of trying to get things clean, but making sure she didn't roll off the countertop. So lesson learned, don't go shopping with kids.
I think that's a perfect place to finish that. Right. So, what's your topic?
So mine's driving and stress, or the stress of driving.
Good one.
Now, for me, I love driving. I always have loved driving, but when I'm on my own, commuting to work and things like that, don't mind it. I'm happy. I'm in my own space. As soon as you put 2 kids in back seat, all hell breaks loose for some reason. And to make matters worse, Amy, when we're going long car journeys, falls asleep. She's in the car 5 minutes in passenger seat and falls asleep. Now, don't get me wrong. I would do the same if I was in the same shoe. The problem is I'm a bad passenger and I have to drive all the time because I can't be passenger. I mean, when I drive with you, you make me feel sick all the time when I'm in car with you.
You always say that. I'm not.
I do. I'm just. Well, you're one that makes me the most sick out of everyone else. I feel like I'm going to throw up everywhere. Cars zigzagging from side to side. I'm like, oh god. I don't blame her because, like I say, if I could be a passenger, I'd probably go to sleep as well. But it's just the whole stress of, like, if the kids want something, I either have to wake her up, which then is not nice that I've woken her up because she's tired. There's a reason why she's gone to sleep. Or I'll have to fumble around myself while trying to control the car or X, Y, and Z. I just find the whole thing, stressful. Try and play games, and then sometimes the games get very stressful. So if you play like I Spy, which is a nice basic game. I remember playing with Noah once, and we was playing for ages, and he had tea. So I was thinking, right, play for like 20 minutes. I could not figure out what this tea was, to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to be beaten by a child here. I'm not giving up. Amy's given up. no, Ava's given up. I'm like, I am not giving up. I'm going to get you here, Noah. It's going to be my go next. I want to go. I want to go I Spy next. So, T. To the point where I'm like trying tree, tractor. I'm thinking of things that we might have. Bearing in mind, we're on the motorway. So, right, I'm giving up. I've not got a clue. I've tried everything that begins with T. And he says, toilet. And I was like, where's the toilet? And what he was talking about is we'd passed services and he associated that was where we got toilet. So, absolute nightmare of a killer I Spy. Technically, he was right, but I wasn't getting it anytime soon. So, I was outwitted by my son.
At least it wasn't toilet, as in, I've done a toilet, Dad, in the backseat of the car.
That'd be my luck. 20 minutes later, thinking, what's that smell? It's getting ripe in here.
Oh, man. I like how you can get stressed by I Spy.
But it's because I'm trying to drive at the same time. So, like, once again, I'm a man. I'm struggling to do more than one thing at once.
My first question there is, when you say that Amy's asleep, is she pretending to be asleep because she don't want to play games? Is she just kind of sleeping?
Probably. Or shouldn't want to talk to me.
Yeah, I'd be asking that question first. This is the thing I find, and obviously, like with Ellie living away, we've spent a fair bit of time driving backwards and forwards playing games in car. We play the number plate registration game. The last 3 letters of the number plate, you have to try and figure words for that. So JUG could be Jennifer's under garden. It's figuring like a sentence or whatever it is. You know, there's what they call it, like Granny's basket game. If you want a game to stress you out, that is a game that'll stress you out because you get to about F and then you're fed up. Nobody wants to play anymore.
Granny's basket game? What's that?
So Granny's basket. So I've gone shopping. I've got Granny's basket and she's asked me for apples. And then the next person will say apples and a beaver. The next person will say apples, a beaver and a car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we play that. We play that, but we ours is we go to the shops and I went to the shops and I bought that sort of thing. So Granny's basket. I've never heard of Granny's basket.
Yeah, so I'm not selfish, you see. I'd go shopping for Granny, not just go shopping for myself. Another one we play, which will be difficult for you, especially if you've got one parent pretending to be asleep and 2 kids in back, is me and Ellie play Revel Roulette.
Oh, nice.
So you get a big bag of Revels. She generally doesn't want the coffee one. I don't want the raisin. So if you hand in, plunge down, get the raisin, you lose.
I like that. Problem is, my two are that little, they probably start throwing up everywhere.
Yeah. And the problem that we always had with that is that Ellie definitely cheated. She got hand in bag and she was rummaging around feeling for Maltesers. Yeah. How are your kids with car sickness? Really good.
So I'm so grateful that they've not got my issues of travelling. I've always been a terrible driver to the point where I could go from home to school, which is 10 minutes away, and I'd be throwing up as a kid. I was such a bad, must be some sort of equilibrium, whereas these two don't have it, which touch wood, they ain't got it. But like I say, some people do get it so bad. Like Amy's really bad on boats. Like, put her on a boat and she's sick all over. Whereas, like, for me, it must be a concentration thing. Like, if I can't visualise what I'm looking at properly, that's it. I'm ready for being sick. Or if I look at my phone and stuff when I'm driving, not when I'm driving. No, when I'm passenger, I just feel sick all the time. Like I say, it must be my mind knows I'm moving, but obviously I can't focus on what I'm looking at.
I was absolutely terrible kid, same as you. 10 minutes. Where my grandma lived, I could drive 10 minutes and I'd be ill.
Yeah,
and it's awful. My parents tried everything when I was a kid. It's sitting on newspaper. Apparently that was a thing. Never worked.
I'm not surprised.
They had, but apparently it was one of them, what they call, like old wives' tales. That if you sat on newspaper, you won't. It's something to do with static or something like that. We had, you won't remember this, but we used to have a thing that, like a rubber thing that used to hang down on back of car, and that was supposed to reduce static, which was apparently something that made you sick. My kids aren't the best either. We've had points where you're catching spewing t-shirts and things. It's bad, and I feel for them because I've been there, and it's awful, absolutely awful. There's nothing worse than feeling ill, but that's what it is. If you're looking down, if you're reading, whatever it might be, if you're not kind of focused and looking out a window, little and struggles sometimes. We've got car seats and stuff to see out.
Yeah.
Well,
isn't it weird though? Because 1 minute you feel fine, and then next minute you just go really red hot and like weirdly like I'm going to throw. Which is predominantly why I drive everywhere we go. I drive and I insist on driving because, I mean, I've not been sick as an adult, but I just, every now and then I will start to feel sick. And it's more when you drive that I get that condition.
Well, I'll remember that in future. You can drive everywhere.
I'd rather drive than running the risk of throwing up in your car.
Yeah, I'd like that as well. Pre-long trip then, what's your go-to? What's your plan? What kind of information can we give out there? What can we share as good practice? I mean, your kids are all right, but what are you going to do to keep them busy, to keep them occupied? Are you going to set off at midnight so they're asleep? You know, you're planning it out. You're stopping every hour, every couple of hours.
If I'm honest, we go for the wing aspect. I know where I'm going. I know how long it's going to take, and we'll go for it. We'll go for a wee before we set off. We'll make sure we've got juice, we've got snacks that they can have, you know, to keep them occupied and stuff. But I am a big winger when it comes to travel, because my problem is if I know I've got to stop at a services and we've been sat in traffic for an hour, I need to stop at that services. The one down the road, because I planned it. I am a big winger when it comes to travel. Like we went to Cromer last year, I think about 3.5 hours. We pretty much just winged it down there. The kids said need to stop, let's stop. Plenty of like songs on in car, so we've got like nursery rhyme things. I mean, we're going back here, it was like 6 or whatever. So we're listening to nursery rhymes on there. We had like CDs that had stories on, and we were mixing it with them sort of things. I'm not a big iPad in the car because, and that thing that comes back from myself, obviously I could never concentrate. So I'm worried if they're sat on their iPad all way, they might just start throwing up. So we've never really tested that realms of can they operate the iPad while driving and stuff.
It's rare that there's sort of all 4 of us in car at once. And if there's just me, Lexi and Andy, Lexi generally sits in front, Andy's in back, the majority of the time. And we've got to a point now where Andy does take her iPad because she is bad, and it really does help. Because we've got a clip on back at seat. So back at passenger seat, it's not the best thing, but if it'll hold out for a couple of hours while she watches something, and it just rolls on to the next thing. She downloads stuff, so one thing finishes, another thing starts, so she doesn't need to start touching it and stuff like that. If you can, I bought this bracket for mine. It wasn't the most expensive thing. I bought it cheap because that's what I do. I think you could certainly get better ones that would hold it a lot better, and I'd certainly recommend it. It just keeps them busy. Earphones in, so you don't even have to listen to it. I'd recommend it. I mean, it's not for everybody, but...
No, I mean, if it works, if it stops you from feeling sick, then you've cracked it. Because like I dare do it for the other aspects, because like I say, I know if I try and concentrate on something while moving, I'm going to be sick. So I don't let them try and concentrate on something.
As long as you're not watching it while they're driving, you're all right.
That'll be the other thing. I'll be leading around going, what's happening? What's going on?
You just sitting back. You watch what you want to do. Ava could probably drive better than you anyway.
I've got to say, so I can't think which friend it was, but someone said that they used to obviously go driving quite a bit, and they had like in the back of the car, they had like a pull down DVD player. They'd listened to Frozen that many times, but never watched it, but obviously knew what was going on in Frozen. That they actually thought that Sven, the reindeer, actually spoke, not that it was Kristoff making the voice up. So when he actually came to watch it, it was like, oh, hang on, I get it now. The reindeer doesn't actually talk. It's Kristoff. I can't think who it was who told me about that.
Chris Brown. It's a good story, that. When he used to go to Wales all the time, that's what he used to have on in car.
Yeah. Speaking of Chris Brown, anyway, shout out for him on his small victories about using biodegradable bags instead of buying nappy bags that won't break down, which I think is quite a good shout out for my incident I had last week with the child and his poo. Sorry, just while I'm on my throat, speaking of our kids, so I went for a walk this week, gone to Riverbank, and they needed a wee. I was like, I can't take you anywhere. So she had to have a wee because it was that far away from home, like on Riverbank. So she had to wee on Riverbank. I was like, what is wrong with you two kids?
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do with that, is there?
No.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm not scooping that up in the back.
It's hard, isn't it? Especially with girls.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm like, don't wee on your knickers. But I'm like, do you need to take them off so you don't wee on your knickers? I was like, crikey. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of shout-outs, and based on what we talked about last week, so we talked about like small victories last week, and we've had quite a bit of people come back, give us their own sort of small victories. And it'd be good to say we would like a few more of these, because it does keep you sane. And like we said, it's just nice to have that little smile to yourself to go, yeah, I got one. 1-0 to me. So we got some other small victories, didn't we, this week via our Instagram page, which is dad_tales_. So anything that you want to send on that, feel free to ping us across. So a couple of small victories I've got here from Mr. Mike Connolly, which was nice for him to catch up. When you sat in traffic, moving at about 5 miles an hour, with traffic as far as the eye can see, and your sat-nav tells you that you're coming off at the next junction, and you feel like when you come off, you're just overtaking all them cars. Oh, I know exactly how it feels. That is a really good small victory. You like that one, don't you?
I do.
Another one that come in again from Mike, when you're telling a dad joke and one of the kids kind of calls you out on it or kind of understands what you were talking about. So I've got an example here. So this is, Mike's got boys, hasn't he? Mike's got boys and he's got one daughter. I'm sure we'll get Mike on to have a bit of a chat in a few weeks' time. A furniture store keeps calling me. All I wanted was a one-night stand.
Yeah.
So they're the type of things, and then obviously your son would look at you and go, yes, Dad, I know what you mean. He sees that as a very small victory, but a very good small victory, so I like it. So big shout out to Mike, thanks for those. It's been good. We've had some good feedback on that, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, it's been nice to get people contributing as well, because obviously it gives us things to talk about, and anything we've been talking about over the past as well. If you've got anything funny or something you want to talk about, or just shout it our way, like driving stressed, things like that. If there's anything like your shopping incidents you've had, or tips that you have when you go shopping. I mean, if there's anyone out there who's listening and we can't figure out how you're meant to juggle trying things on and have 2 kids running around your feet, if you know how to get around that, let us know. We'll put the shout out there. Best way of getting it done.
Absolutely. I do want to clarify one thing though. Feedback from last week. We talked about last week about like rainy day ideas, didn't we? One of the things I mentioned was about just getting your kids involved with decorating and stuff. I just need to clarify now that I don't take my kids to B&Q for a day out. I've taken some abuse this week on.
I'm going to say,
I can't believe you take your kids to B&Q for a day out. I don't do that. Although we did do a day, pretty much a day, because that's what it takes, round a certain Swedish store. But they loved it. It was brilliant.
Yeah, but that's different, because that's like a little play area for me. I used to love going to IKEA because you could get in the bunk bed, you could get in all the weird, like try the settees on. I used to love going to there as a kid. So that's different. B&Q, picking out rolls of wallpaper, you should be ashamed of yourself, Mr. Lehman. And I'm glad people have called you out on it.
That's when you go though. And again, when you get to places like IKEA, that's when I can become proper embarrassing dad, because I will hide in a wardrobe and I will get under a bed. I think that's part of it. I think that's how they design that store to be. Because once you're in, that's it. There's no getting out till you've bought a 50p hot dog. We do want to hear more of people's stories, anything that people have got, hints, tips. I think one thing I'd like as well, which is something we've just touched on, is dad jokes.
Yeah.
I do like a good dad joke. So if anybody's got any that they can send us, that they can tag us in on Instagram, email us at dadtales@outlook.com. That would be great. One thing I think we do need to explain is that a little sort of look behind the curtain. This is episode 5, so this is going out as episode 5. We released episode 4 last week, which was our first one to be released. Just to let people know, we've done an episode 1, 2, and 3. We've got a trailer that will go out so people can listen to that, so they can see what we're about. But it's been quite a long process. We've been making sure that we kind of get the format right. Then we need to be approved for certain platforms for them to put our stuff out there. So that's why. So what we're going to do is we're going to release episodes 1, 2, and 3 over the next few weeks. So the idea is that we're going to try and get this out so it's released every Thursday, so you can subscribe and it will drop into your, wherever you get your podcast from, it'll drop in there every week. But we will be releasing episodes 1, 2, and 3 over the next few weeks. We're just in the process of sort of editing those at the moment. And yeah, so anything that you hear us discussing that, we've got some other great stories that are in that, some great topics that we've covered. And we will sort of nip back on those once you've kind of listened to those. And yeah, we just want your stories. Help us out. We'll talk about stuff. And if you want to give us a topic to talk about, even better. We'll discuss anything that people want, anything that people want advice on, help on.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a good plan. This week, what you got on? You've got a busy week on this week?
Yeah, it's Noah's birthday this week, so I've got that to prep and plan for. Got the big drums coming. Can't wait for that. Should be entertaining. And then
I'm looking forward
I am sort of. I'm going to have to build them at some point as well, which is, I've not really, because I've not had a chance to get them out of the box. So it's one of those things where it's night before, they're going to come out of the box and it's assemble it. And I've got a funny feeling it ain't going to be straightforward.
Nothing ever is it?
Because this box doesn't look like there's a snare drum in it. It looks like there's a squashed snare drum and a bass drum and a set of cymbals and stuff like that. Because the box is very small and the drum kit is pretty big. So I've got a funny feeling some assembly required and I could be up till 1, 2 in the morning trying to assemble that bad boy.
I hope so. I'll bring his... If people will only understand this once they've listened to episode 3. If I bring his Shih Tzu round later on in the week.
I tell you what, if you bring a Shih Tzu round, it's going back with you.
So that's an episode 3 touch on. Please go back and listen to it.
There better not be animals coming my way. I'm telling you right now, there better not be any animals coming my way.
I'm not going shopping for all like that. I'm saying I'm looking for something to do this weekend with an 8 and a 15-year-old that hopefully involves being outside, but trying to keep them as active and less bored as possible. So if anyone's got any ideas, please feel free to let me know. Without driving a million miles, so something Yorkshire-ish, if that could happen, we'll know next week how you've got on with the drum kit.
I'll be on next week going, does anybody want to buy a drum kit?
Yeah, possibly so. And a Shih Tzu.
No, stop joking. Not funny.
Right, nice one. I will catch you in a week. Thanks for tonight.
See you in a bit, dude.
Please like, rate, and subscribe.